Hey, it's Mike Nelson here again with some more training videos for real estate agents. This topic is specifically for newer agents, and it is about how to show houses to buyers. A lot of agents just kind of show up and whatever, they open doors and let people walk through, and there's really tactical, skilled ways to do this. So more coming in that video here in just a minute, but in the meantime, go ahead and click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you'll get some more training videos prompted to you. So how does a new agent go about showing buyers homes? You'd think it's pretty straightforward and simple. However, just like everything else, there is a strategy in how things are done that maximize your opportunities. And really, you've heard some of the agents in the past, and they may be powerful numbers, but they're like, I only show buyers 6 to 8 homes, and then they pull the trigger, if not sooner. So a lot of that comes down to pre-qualifying your buyers. A lot of that comes down to asking the right questions. A lot of that comes down to educating your buyers. And so, and right now in 2022, we're in this crazy market. Buyers might have to look at 20, 30, 40 homes. I tend to disagree with that. I tend to make sure my buyers are well educated, well armed, and ready to go to pull the trigger on something fairly quickly. Now, I'm not trying to coerce them into a decision that they'll regret. However, they have to understand this market isn't a Pollyanna market where you can just go in and take your time. You can go look at 1 million houses. None of us have time for that. Clients, families, us as real estate agents. So it's really about educating your buyers as number one. So how do you educate your buyers? A lot of that's about pulling up history of an area that they're looking for. Hey, here's all the houses that are either under contract or sold, let's just say in the last 1 to 2 months. Well, when I look at that, I can go to the days to offer and go, hey, in your MLS, look at this, guys. Most of these houses, 90% of them were going 2 to 3 days after going live, they're under contract. So that's one thing that you can use to coach and teach them. The other thing you might want to look at is list price to sales price while you're in that screen looking at the days to offer. Once you look at the sales price to list price, you can start educating them on, hey, look, we're gonna have to write some aggressive offers. It's very likely if you're not looking for a house that's been on the market for a little while and you're looking for new to market type opportunities, it's not me, it's the market, right? And here's what the market's doing. So the market may suggest, obviously, here's one that went on the market, 3 days to offer, it went $22,000 over list price. Here's number 2. It was 4 days on the market and it went for $18,000 over list price. So you're really just kind of controlling the narrative and future pacing them so that they understand what they're getting themselves into. Here's another trick. If they can't go above their qualification price point, whether that's money down, whether that's qualifications, in this market right now, you might want to back them down on their max price point search. So for example, if they're qualified at 400, we should probably be looking at 375 to 380 properties, because if they get the 400, it's probably going over asking price. They're gonna be frustrated because all they can do is write the offer for 400 in this case, and you're gonna end up writing a lot of offers until they can find something that's maybe 375, bringing it to 400, perhaps an appraisal gap, perhaps not, but at least we know we can write the offer from 375 to 400. Back to the video on showings and how you show buyers' houses. So again, strategically speaking, essentially what you're trying to do is set them up on the beginning of educating them so that when we do go find the right house, we really have everything dialed in. The other thing that I'm doing is making sure I really understand their non-negotiables. So let's not play the game of, we really want 4 bedrooms, however, we'll be satisfied with 3. All right, cool. Then are you saying that if I find you a 3-bedroom, you're willing to pull the trigger on it? But if you don't want to go less than 3 bedrooms, do I have your permission to tell you, no, we're not going to go look at a 2-bedroom house because you're telling me your non-negotiables are nothing less than 3 bedrooms. So make sure you have that information and that coaching with them as well, and that's going to help steer them and give you permission to push back on them when they start trying to look at houses that don't make sense for what their criteria is. We are officially got the notification, like we want to go look at houses. What does that look like? Tactically speaking, I'm kind of asking them through my MLS to give me some ideas of the houses that we've pulled and which ones they want to see. Once they tell me which ones they want to see, I basically try to geographically put them together in a synchronized manner, of course, that would say, hey, this flow of direction or geography in the drive time makes the most sense. We don't want to drive all the way up north, drive back down south, drive back up north. The first couple times you probably show a buyer a house, you're not gonna really know, are they those 10-minute in and out type people, or are they the hour-long people every single showing? In today's market, you're probably gonna have to be a little more quick paced and coach your clients to like, hey, we got about 15 to 20 minutes to get in and out of here, because there's probably going to be 32 other people showing the same property at the same time. So again, coaching and guidance goes a long way. So once we kind of do that, we go ahead and obviously you'll go into your showing services, whatever scheduling services you have, go ahead and get those scheduled. Once they're scheduled, again, I kind of try to do maybe 2 in an hour, something like that, until I get to know my client. Sometimes I can squeeze in 3. You also might want to look at if they're show and go, because you might have a little more flexibility in being a little bit late to one of those perhaps, as opposed to a seller that has to leave their property during a defined time. Once we're there, what I like to do is I like to print off the MLSs for each sheet. One of the cool things I like to do, and maybe I'll shoot another video on it sometime, there is a technology out there that is a writing digital notepad, kind of like an iPad, but it's called Remarkable. What you can actually do is download a PDF of the houses that you're showing, and you can bring it into your Remarkable, and you can actually take notes on top of that MLS in a digital format. So if you want more information on that, just put some comments down below, let me know. I'd be happy to share that information with you. Now I don't have to carry around 12 MLS sheets. I can actually take the MLS, put it on my Remarkable, and then I can actually write down the lockbox code or the showing code or whatever it is. I can actually take notes on it as far as what the clients are saying per property, and it gives me some idea to go back with some intelligence to kind of conclude at the end of the day some of their thoughts. I don't have to just memorize it all in my brain. So once we have that, we'll obviously go in and show the house. Honestly, getting a little tactical here, when I first walk up to the house, I'll normally give them the MLS sheet. That's kind of the client version. I'll kind of reiterate some of the summaries, like, hey, this one's 400,000, it's 4 bedroom, 3 bath. Here's, it has some upgrades to it. Hey, it's got a new roof. Hey, while we're standing out here, let's check that out. I kind of peek up as high as I can as far as from the ground level and says, yep, looks like a new roof to me. Right, I'm looking around. I do more tactical investigative stuff when I'm showing houses. I don't just open the door and walk around aimlessly. I'm looking at the brick, I'm looking at the siding, I'm looking at the concrete and the driveway. I'm looking for things that I could help call out. If we do write an offer, these things could come up for inspection. Or if that's a big issue for them and they don't want to pull the trigger, I don't want them to pull the trigger on a house that says, oh man, I gotta have a new driveway put in probably in the next year. I'm not interested in that, right, as an example. So once we get in the house, obviously we use the lockbox, whatever tools to get into the house. I'm showing them around. I'm looking at the ceilings. I'm not opening drawers and I'm not opening refrigerators, don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely walking around looking for cracks in the ceilings, for settling issues. I might open the mechanical closet and kind of look at what's the hot water heater age, if I can figure that out, the furnace, some stuff like that, that may or may not be in the MLS. Just trying to show that I'm an expert in showing the home. I'm not just opening the door and letting them walk around aimlessly and come to their own conclusions. One of the last few things that I'm doing is taking my Remarkable and the MLS sheet that I put in there as a PDF, and I'm jotting down notes as to their reactions to things. I'm asking the client open-ended questions as we go through the process. So tell me what you think about this house compared to the last house. So remember, the last house was $375, this one's $400. Do you see the differences? I'm helping them realize why certain houses might be priced a certain way. And maybe if the seller's out of whack on their price point just between the two houses that we saw, right? So I'm helping educate them, I'm coaching them throughout the process. I'm reiterating the things that were important to them, like, hey, we need a backyard with a fence. Cool, this house has a backyard with a fence. Talk to me about that. Well, it's for our dog, and this one's not quite big enough. All right, cool. Now I have some information to process for future showings. So the next one we find, if it's got a huge backyard and maybe the house isn't quite as great as what they thought, maybe they'll pull the trigger because it has a bigger backyard, whatever is important to them. Once we get done with the showings then, obviously I like to pull them back together. I guess another topic while I'm thinking about it is, in today's era, assume everything's got recorders everywhere, assume there's cameras everywhere. So keep your conversations brief and limited in the house. I might ask some questions about what's important to them and what they think about this, but I'm not gonna get into What do you guys think about the price here? What would you guys want to offer? I would try not to give up too much motivation in there, because you just never know when you're being recorded. Also, when you're out in the front, don't just stand on the porch or the driveway and talk, because those Ring cameras and audio devices can pick up quite a bit of distance. So literally I would get in the cars, or I would drive up the block a little bit, and then we would sit and debrief a little bit. That's just the way today's technology and society is. So once we kind of do a debrief on everything, we go, hey, here was and again, I try to keep my showings to no more than like 6 a day. That's just my target, because I think they start getting mixed together, they start getting convoluted. There's just things that they just don't quite remember after about 6 houses, the differences between those houses. I hope that was helpful to you. At the end of the day, I kind of revisit with them, these were the important things you told me. Are those still the most important non-negotiables for you after seeing these houses? Can you kind of get a better gist of what the market's doing today right now? Can you see the pricing and what you get for that pricing? And just trying to educate them at all times. I feel like once they're educated, then ultimately they're more comfortable in making the decision, and then we go from there. So anyways, hope that was a helpful video for you today. Don't forget to click the subscribe button below, click the notification bell, give us some comments if you agree with the things I say, if you disagree with the things I say, if you have other tips and tactics that you use, put those in there. Anyways, thanks for allowing me to give you another video.